50,000 years ago, a scream meant something specific and exact. Not fear in general, but a coded warning passed between bodies instantly. No words existed yet, but the message still landed perfectly clear. A raised hand could stop a hunting party in complete silence. A tightened jaw could warn a stranger not to come closer. Long before the first sentence was ever spoken by anyone alive, humans were already fluent in something older, stranger, and deeply physical. This is the story of how we talked before we talked. Start with the face, because it never stopped being honest. 43 muscles sit under human skin, built purely for expression. That number dwarfs almost every other creature roaming the ancient earth. Fear, disgust, joy, and rage look identical across every human culture. A hunter in Papua New Guinea shows fear exactly like you do. Paul Ekman spent decades proving these expressions were never taught behavior. He found micro-expressions, flickers lasting less than 1/5 second. You cannot fully suppress them, even when you desperately want to. They leak through the mask, exposing whatever hides underneath completely. Imagine a Pleistocene campfire, 30 faces flickering in orange, dying light. One face tightens almost imperceptibly, and the whole group feels it. Nobody spoke, yet somehow everyone already knew danger was near. That silent broadcast system kept fragile human groups alive for millennia. An individual who could flash warning without noise had real advantage. Predators hunt by sound, so silent signals meant survival itself. The ones who read faces fastest passed on their sharp genes. We are literally descended from history's most attentive face readers. Now travel back 6 million years before humans existed at all. The lineage that built us split away from early chimpanzee ancestors. Watch wild chimpanzees today, and something eerily familiar appears immediately. They extend an open palm upward, clearly begging for food. They tap a shoulder gently, requesting grooming from a trusted friend. They wave an arm sharply, inviting another chimp into rough play. Crucially, they wait for eye contact before ever attempting a gesture. If ignored, they repeat the exact same motion with growing insistence. This is not blind instinct firing on some ancient evolutionary autopilot. Researchers at St. Andrews University cataloged over 80 distinct chimp gestures. Many carried identical meaning across groups that never once met. That means these signals predate the very species using them today. Bonobos share this system, and so do gorillas and orangutans. Something old, something inherited, something written deep into primate bones. Human babies confirm this ancient inheritance in astonishing, almost eerie ways. Around 9 months old, long before any real word appears, infants begin pointing at objects, sharing attention with total strangers. A dog will stare forever at your finger, missing the point entirely. A human baby follows the point, understanding exactly what you meant. That single difference may be one seed of everything we became. The gestural origin theory argues language started in restless human hands. Voice came later, added on to a system already fully functioning. Broca's area, the brain's language center, sits near hand motor control. It may not be a language organ that happens nearby motion. It might be a motor planning region that language later hijacked. The hands built the road, and eventually the voice learned driving. But gesture fails completely once darkness or dense forest hides you. Early humans moved through fog, thick trees, and moonless night constantly.
Something else had to fill that dangerous, silent, unseen gap. Sound arrived, not as language yet, but as pure, urgent signal. Vervet monkeys still demonstrate this today with chilling, specific precision. One call means eagle, and the troop dives into thick bushes.
A different call means snake, and every monkey stands scanning grass. A third call means leopard, sending the group scrambling up trees. Same species, same troop, three distinct sounds, three distinct survival responses. This is not raw emotion escaping uncontrolled from a frightened throat. It is information aimed outward, referring to something real and dangerous. Our ancestors almost certainly carried something richer than any vervet call. Millions of years of growing social complexity demanded sharper communication tools. Cooperative hunting, shifting alliances, and larger camps all needed precision. Nobody knows exactly what early Homo voices actually sounded like. Soft tissue never fossilizes, leaving no direct trace of ancient speech. But the hyoid bone, a small U-shaped bone, tells secrets. Neanderthal hyoid bones look almost identical to the ones we carry. That strongly suggests they possessed real physical capacity for complex sound. And Neanderthals buried their dead with visible, deliberate, aching care. They crafted pigments and wore eagle talons as personal ornaments. These are not the habits of creatures with nothing to express. Somewhere in those caves, grief needed a way to be shared. Now consider rhythm, the heartbeat hiding underneath every human culture ever. Every known society drums, claps, chants, or moves together in unison. When bodies synchronize, oxytocin rises and physical pain thresholds actually increase. Anthropologist Robin Dunbar calls this grooming at a distance, and rightly so. Physical grooming bonds two primates, but only two at any moment. As groups swelled toward 150 individuals, grooming alone failed. Singing together could bond an entire camp in mere shared minutes. Bone flutes found across Europe date back 40,000 years exactly. But percussion needs no instrument, only hands, stone, and hollow logs. Rhythm was available to every single human who ever lived anywhere. Picture a night sky, firelight, and dozens of feet stamping earth. That was never mere entertainment, it was survival wearing a rhythm. Now think about posture, the silent language written across every spine. Making yourself large signals threat. Making yourself small signals total surrender. A dropped head, a turned shoulder, a lowered gaze all speak volumes. Early humans read these signals fluently, the way we still do. Who stands closest to whom reveals alliance without a single sound. Touch carried its own entire grammar, older than any spoken word. A hand on the shoulder differs completely from a hand elsewhere. A firm grip warns, while a gentle tap simply invites closeness. These meanings stayed remarkably consistent across cultures separated by vast oceans. They are older than language, wired deep before words ever existed. Even today, when words and body language contradict, we trust the body. Someone says, "fine," through a flat voice with arms tightly crossed. You do not believe the words, you believe the crossed arms. That is not irrational, that is ancient hardware overriding modern deception. We never replaced this system, we simply layered language onto it. Now consider something rarely discussed at all, the ancient power of smell. Humans can literally smell fear, and this is not simple metaphor. Sweat from frightened people triggers real physiological shifts in other people. The signal bypasses conscious thought, heading straight toward primal threat response. We can detect illness, stress, and even genetic compatibility through scent alone. The famous sweaty shirt studies proved this in striking, uncomfortable detail. People preferred the scent of partners with different immune system profiles. Evolution was quietly choosing mates while consciousness remained completely unaware.
Early humans sleeping in tight shared spaces, bathed constantly in scent. A silent chemical conversation running endlessly beneath every spoken word.
Eventually, something new began stirring beneath all these older, ancient systems. Stone tools reveal the slow assembly of complex, sequential human thought. The earliest tools, dating back 2.6 million years, were simple, sharp edges. The Acheulean hand axe, appearing 1.76 million years ago, demanded real planning. You had to hold a final shape firmly inside your mind. You had to execute careful steps toward a goal not yet visible. That is the same mental architecture required for building a sentence. Each word constrains and shapes whatever word will follow it next. By the time Homo sapiens appeared 300,000 years ago, the brain's wiring for language was likely already almost entirely ready. Language may not have needed some dramatic, sudden neurological miracle moment. It might have been the final piece sliding quietly into place. Not a leap from silence into poetry, but an addition of grammar. Grammar let a small set of signals build infinite possible meanings. And once that happened, human culture accelerated at astonishing, unstoppable speed. But knowledge traveled long before grammar ever entered the human story. Watching a skilled hand shape flint taught lessons no words could. Humans over-imitate, copying exact steps even when shortcuts clearly exist. Children repeat unnecessary motions because they assume every step matters somehow. This strange habit is precisely what allows culture to actually accumulate. A technique survives generations through watching hands, not spoken explanation. Knowledge of which plants heal and which plants silently kill survived for hundreds of thousands of years inside muscle memory alone, passed from one set of patient hands into another younger set, long before anyone could write a single word of it down. When language finally deepened, everything about human life changed completely, forever. You could now describe something that was not physically present anymore. You could warn someone about danger they had never personally faced. You could grieve together, out loud, for someone who was gone. You could plan for a future stretching far beyond the horizon. Language did not replace the older system built across millions of years. It joined it, adding one more channel to an already crowded conversation. Every conversation today still runs on every single one of these channels. Your face, your posture, your rhythm, your scent, and finally, your words. When you sense a room's mood shift before anyone says anything, that is the old system, still working, still faster than language. When someone lies and you simply know, despite their careful words, that is ancient hardware catching the mismatch between mouth and body. We never traded silence for language. We simply built language onto silence. So the next time you feel understood without saying a single word, remember you are speaking a language older than any nation, any alphabet, one refined across millions of years of fear, love, hunger, and survival. The question is no longer how our ancestors managed without speech. The real question is whether we have forgotten how fluently we still speak without it.